Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm gonna give all power and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem, woman like Yahweh Shai. It is Brother Sirach from W5 Bay Area. Come back, co-cut through the power and spirit of the Most High Yahweh, who the world ignorance called God, and through his son Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorance called Jesus Christ. In the video of this topic, order is beautiful according to the Most High. Man, because when you read the scriptures and you dig deep in it, the Most High always had order all through the scriptures, right? And we gonna get down in this thing to see what's going on and how much the Most High love order, how the Most High set up men to control or to order his steps to the spirit, right? And that's what the whole world is based off, is just order, right? All right, let's get this precept of the spirit, right? Pick it off at 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 40, right? And it reads, "Let all things be done decently and in order," right? So all things is gonna be done in decency and order. And the Most High just don't have things set up, and not have things in order, right? Everything down to the firmament, down to how the earth is being formed. All these different things are in order, right? And if these things are out of whack or misplaced, and we know, the Most High don't deal with false balances. Everything has a balance in this thing. Everything is in its proper place, in its proper context, right? Right. So let's get Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9, right? And it reads this. And so, right, Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9, it says, "Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh and there is none else. I am Yahweh and there is none like me." So we know, everything that was formed from the old, is here, right? So let me read that again. It says, "Remember the former things of old." And what was the former things of old? The Most High always had things in order. The order is beautiful according to the Most High. He set things in its proper place, right? It says, "I am Yahweh and there is none else. I am Yahweh and there is none else like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasures." So he's just saying, at the end of the day, everything that he has set up in the ancient days is going to be the same thing that's going to be set up in the former days, or the nowadays, right, of today, right? So he had order in the ancient world, and he's going to have order now. Things don't change based on the time periods we're in. Israel always had somebody to govern them. Israel always had someone to govern them and give them instructions and laws, right? It goes down from a multiple instance, right? Even this world, right? We have order in all societies and all walks of nationalities. People just don't do their own thing when it comes to certain nations. Everybody have structure and order, because then it'll be chaos, right? Let's get Isaiah 44, right? It's Isaiah chapter 44 in verse 6, and it reads, "Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, I am the last, and beside me there is no God. And who, as I, shall call and shall declare it, and set in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people." So he gonna set in order everything, right? So he gonna set things in order, right? It says, "And set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming and shall come, and let me shew unto them," right? So everything's gonna be placed back into its proper order. Once the Most High send his son, which is Yahweh Shai, come back, he gonna crack open the sky. He's gonna set everything back in order, the way it was supposed to be already ordained from the beginning, right? But even now, we gonna have order throughout our nation. Every camp throughout our congregation throughout the world has order. Even in the worldly sense. And these churches, they have order. You know, everybody has order in every sense of businesses. We could go sports teams, franchises, industries, everything you can name. It's order to everything. You know, everybody have its proper place, right? Let's get 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 27, right? This is 1 Corinthians 12 and 27. It says, now ye are the body of Mashiach and members in particular. And Yahweh has set some in the church, first apostles, secondary prophets, thirdly churches, thirdly teachers. After that, miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversity of tongues, right? So, there's different offices. There's different order of things, right? Like he said what? First apostles, secondary prophets, thirdly teachers. After that, miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues, right? All prophets. Are all prophets, Salakia, verse 29, are all apostles, are all prophets, are all teachers, are all workers of miracles? No, everybody's different, man. Everybody have his different order of business that they govern, right? Everybody have a different office. Everybody's not set up to be the same person. So with that, there's hierarchy within a lot of things, right? The Most High have a hierarchy of nations that he made, right? Which we know as the Israelites. So there's order in everything, right? Let's get to it. Let's get to the first order, right? Lord willing, it's gonna be a long video through the Spirit, but we're gonna get to it, right? You're gonna go. It's dated back into Genesis, right? This is Genesis chapter 2, in verse. I'm start at 7, right? It says, and the Lord Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed in him into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So he's literally chosen a certain man named Adam that we know as the Adamites. When you get that, when you look down in the scriptures, and you know the Most High slept with you, we know he has chosen a certain man. He was the Adam, the chosen Adam, because there was many nations on the earth, but he chosen a certain man to what? To do what? Right? Let's get I'm gonna jump down to verse 15, right? So in verse 15, this is Genesis 2 and 15, it says, and the Lord Yahweh took the man, the chosen Adam, right, and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it, right? So he put him in a garden to dress it and to keep it. You know, when you dress it, when you put somebody in a garden to do what? To make sure that everything is running smooth and properly. You got a farmer, he weeding, he doing all the weeding, he doing the tilling, he's plowing, he's sowing, he doing all the different things as a farmer does, right? That's what Adam's job was to do, but not just on the surface level of planning and sowing and doing the things. No, he was teaching the people the commandments. He was making sure everybody was in order. That was his job, to make sure everybody was in order, that everybody was upkeeping what? The commandments, right? This is Genesis 2 and 15. It says, and the Lord Yahweh took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Lord Yahweh commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, right? So he's saying, hey, you may freely eat what amongst these different trees, right? Now people in Christianity think, oh, he's talking about literal trees. No, we know based off precepts that the Most High likened to a lot of things of trees, are likened men unto trees, are grass, are plants in these type of senses, right? But I'm gonna show you what he referred to the Adam, right? You know, because I said it, but let's show it through the Spirit. 2 Ezra chapter 3. It's what he breathed life into him, and what was he was teaching and upkeeping in the garden, right? This is Second Ezra chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 3, right? It says, "And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul." So literally that chosen Adam that he breathed life into, and he breathed what, right? He gave him a soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. Right, so he ate the same context or the same story that's going into what Adam in the garden getting breath, that breath of life. Right, it says, "And thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forth, and unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way." So he literally had the commandments, from the beginning. So the commandments already been here for the beginning. That's what he breathed into him. When you read the scriptures, we know, like he said, he breathed the breath of life in him. Right? It's plenty of precepts you can go to as far as the breath of life, a living soul, different things that you could equate to what? The commandments. Right? Right. So back to the point of, he literally said that these trees, right? Upkeep the trees, the gardens, the grass, and all these are referring to what? Men, according to the scriptures, right? And let's get to that. Let's get 1 Peter chapter 1. Let's get some couple examples, right? It's 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 24, right? It says, "For all flesh is as grass, and the glory of man as the flower of grass. The grass withered, and the flower thereof falleth away." So he literally equated the man life as grass, right? It says, "For all flesh is as grass." So literally the Most High is putting a flesh as men as grass, right? So that's one example to show that when it's talking about grass or plants or trees, that's not literally talking about man. Or literal trees. It's talking about men, right? Let's get another precept. Let's go Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 40, right? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 6. And it reads, it's Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 6. And it reads thus: The voice said, cry, and he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. Right? The grass withered, the flower faded, because the spirit of Yahweh bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. Surely the people is grass. So again, that's another precept to show that men are considered as people. Grass is considered as people. Right? So what you do in a garden? You got grass, you got plants, you got flowers, you got trees, you got different things. You can even go to animals, right? Even animals in the scriptures are equated to men as well, right? But let's get another precept, right? It's Matthew chapter 6, verse 30, right? It's Matthew chapter 6, verse 30. It says, wherefore, if Yahweh so clothed the grass, how you clothe the grass, right? The grass of field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith, right? So, and we know, particularly going down in the scriptures, right? A man is referring to grass or those certain type of farming or sowing things, right? Let's get Mark chapter 8, right? It's Mark chapter 8 and verse 24, and it reads, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. So now he's going to the trees. He see men as trees walking, So again, men is being referred to what certain type of plants or trees or grass, right? Or flowers or certain things that required for what Adam to upkeep, right? And that's the same same context as what's going into Genesis, right? So I'm gonna finish it out. It says, and he looked up, and he looked up and said, I see man as trees walking. After that, he put his hands upon his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw every man clearly, right? So, and that's what it is, right? So we see men. The Most High always equates certain things into men, and as trees, and that's the tree aspect, right? Let's get a couple more precepts on this, right? We're gonna get back to it to show that Moses was upkeeping men and teaching men the ways of the Lord, right? This is Psalms 92 in verse 12, and it reads, the righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar of Lebanon, right? So he gonna grow like the cedar of Lebanon. And we even go back into Genesis, the place of, the place where, they was talking about, planting these trees and planting these certain things. When you find out, when you look into it, it's certain geographic locations, that you could pinpoint exactly where the Garden of Eden is at, are located, right? So Psalms 92 in verse 12, right? It says, the righteous shall flourish like this palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon, right? So he gonna grow like a cedar in Lebanon, right? It says, those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. So if you be planted in the right soil, you're gonna come up to the Most High. You're gonna be with the Most High. You're gonna be flourish in His courts, like the scriptures say, right? Let's get one more precept. Let's get Judges chapter 9. Get to a point, right? Just Judges chapter 9 in verse. Let me just get to the point. This is Judges chapter 9, verse 8. It reads, the trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. So a tree is anointing a king over them. We know that's not true. Trees don't anoint nobody to be over them. A tree is just there. It's just there, right? So we know this is literally talking about men, right? It says, the trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And they said unto the olive tree, rain down over us. But the olive tree said unto them, shall I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor Yahweh and man, and go to be promoted over the trees. So we know trees is not having conversations to where they talking about appointing a king over them, right? Of any type of sorts. This is not some type of fairy tale book. No, you gotta read between the lines and read what the Most High is speaking about and what he's talking about, right? Because when you look at trees, they represent stature or certain status, we should say. What type of status a man is in, right? What type of stature that man is in, right? So that's why he equate those things to what? Trees. So when you go back to Genesis, right? Genesis 2:15, he read what? It says, and Yahweh took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahweh God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in that day thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmate for him. Right? So the point is, that the Most High appointed this chosen Adam to upkeep and to teach and set him in order and set him above all these other people to tell them and teach them the commandments, right? And you could go all through the scriptures and see that, right? He always chosen certain men. Even Cain and Abel, he chosen Abel, right? Abel ended up getting murdered by his brother. Then he had chosen Seth, right? And so on, right? And then we get all the way down to who? Noah, right? Right. So this is Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9, right? It says, "These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with Yahweh." So he walking with Yahweh. That means he's keeping the commandments. He's doing things according to the Most High, right? He was upright, right? He was a just man and perfect, right? So like he said, he was perfect, right? So right, let's keep reading. It says, "And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth." Right? The earth also was corrupt before Yahweh, and the earth was filled with violence. And Yahweh looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Yahweh said unto Noah, "The end of all flesh is to come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth." Now, he's literally telling Salakia, he literally telling Noah exactly what's going to happen, right? And what he do? Set Noah up to do what? To make the ark, right? He set him up to be in order, to be above all these other people that was on the earth. Because when you know about the story of Noah, he was the only one, and his children and their wives was the only ones that survived the flood. And he set up Noah to do his work. He could have chosen anybody else. He could have chosen 3 men, 4 men, other men to help Noah. He chose 1 man. He always chooses a certain man to set things up in order, right? That's order, because the Most High deals with order at an all-time level, right? All-time level, right? Let's get Exodus. And it's beautiful, man. Most High, man, it's a beautiful thing to be in order. That's what's wrong with our nation now, man. We don't have no order, no guidance. We don't set things up, right, to be in order. That's why everything is all out of whack, right? There's no respect. There's no, there's just no order, right? And the Most High always had order from the beginning, right? And this is Exodus. Now that we're talking about Moses. And we all know Moses was set up to be the man in charge, the man that everybody had to revere, and the man that the Most High set up in above all the rest of the people to lead, right? This is Exodus chapter 7, verse 1. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh." So he made him a god unto Pharaoh. He literally set Moses up as a god or as a power. When you go into the Hebrew, the Elohim or the Allah, which just means powers, and he's the power at the time. He's the leader. He's the ruler, right? He said, "See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be that prophet." Then we just read about different offices or different lots that people have, and believe in 1 Corinthians 12, right? There's different offices. Moses is the power. He's the leader. He's the one that's in charge. He's the head honcho. And under him, who? Is his brother Aaron, right? So the Most High set things up just in that order. And that's how the Most High set everything in order. Now, from Moses, we know, he even set things up in order, right? Because why? Order is beautiful with the Most High. He loved order. Chef kiss, man. He loved this. He loved having things in order, right? Because if we don't have things in order, then everything's all out of whack, right? This is Numbers chapter 11, verse 16. It says, And Yahweh said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone. And so he literally, the Most High said, gather these men, if we're gonna set these things up in order, so they could bear some of these things off of you. Because when you read about Moses, he was bearing a lot. Even his father-in-law Jethro, he said, you gotta set things up, man. You can't just do everything yourself. Set some certain men up to help you out, right? It's verse 18, right? It says, and say thou unto the people, sanctify yourself against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh, for ye have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Yahweh will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. So we know, he literally did what? He set these men up, right, to be next in line after what? Moses. So that's order. So he had 70 elders, then he had officers. He had everything on in order, right? Let's get this real quick in Deuteronomy. Let's do Deuteronomy chapter 1, right? Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 15, right? This is Deuteronomy 1 and 15, and it reads, so I took the chief of your tribes. So he took the chief of the tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you. So he making people heads over people, right? Captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over tens, and officers among your tribes. So he's literally setting up order amongst everybody, right? And that's how the Most High deals with things. You think you're not going to have order in certain congregations? Every congregation have order, right? Every congregation. You can't get over order being a focal point, right? You should want a Judges 5 and 11, doing righteous practices. So really, you want to be practicing order in this time, because a lot of us lack order, right? In the ancient world, we see what's going on. Order is being established, right? So you say captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over tens, and officers among your tribes. And I charge your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. So, we got to judge things and righteously to what? To set things in order and not have everything all out of whack. And so people could do whatever they want to do. So that's right there. That's order that the Most High set up, right? So then let me get this right. So now after Moses, who was next in line? Right? All right, let me get Sirach 46 and 1, right? This is Sirach 46 and 1. It says, Yahushua, the son of Navi, was valiant in the wars, and was the successor of Moses in prophecies, who according to his name was made great, right? For the saving of the elect Yahweh, and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. So when you read about this, we know he's talking about what? Joshua. Joshua was the successor after Moses, right? I'm going to make it plain, right? And I'm going to read it in Joshua. We all know Joshua is the next in line, right? This is Joshua chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that Yahweh spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that I give giving you unto you as I said unto Moses. So he literally said, what? Hey, now you're going to be the successor after what? Moses, right? And after was and so I'm gonna get that in Deuteronomy though, so it could be plain, right? Let me get that real quick. Right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 14, right? It says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, behold, thy days approach that thou must die. Call Joshua and present yourself into the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. And Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of cloud, and the pillar of cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with the fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. Right? So, basically he's saying, hey, he's giving this charge unto what? Moses and Joshua, So we knowing that Joshua was the next in command, right? So Moses, set up what? His successor, which is Joshua, right? So, it went from what? Adam, the chosen Adam, Seth, Enos, you could go through it, Enoch, all these the mighty men that he set up and chosen to do things in order, and what he went from all the way down to Moses and now to Joshua, So the Most High always dealt with order in all type of facets and ways, right? Let's get 1 Samuel, right? 1 Samuel chapter 8 verse 12, right? This 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 12, it says, and he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots, right? So he always setting men up, captains over thousands, captains over fifties, right? So we gotta get in order we gotta get in line to show ourselves that we love the Most High as being a men of the Lord, women of the Lord, children of the Lord, that we love order. Because why? The Most High love order. Don't we say, hey, if the Most High love it, we should love it, or if the Most High hate it, hey, we gonna hate him. We should hate it, and the Most High hate not having order. So we as a people should love and thrive in order, because it's beautiful according to the Most High, right? Let's get some more precepts. Let me wind. Right? This is Matthew chapter 19, right? This is Matthew 19 and 28, and it reads, and Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory. So this is going to when the Son of Man is sitting in his rightful place in his throne, right? Ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And so it's going to be order even in the kingdom. Order is going to be established in the kingdom. It's going to be Yahushua, and the 12 apostles, man. And everybody else is going to be under them. You can't break rank and say, nah, I'm going to sit on that 12. The 12 seats judging the nations. No, he already got that established, man. And we know, this is red letter. He's talking to the apostles, man. The apostles is going to be setting things up, man. Be the rulers, the judges, right? The judges, right? So even in the kingdom of heaven, it's going to have an order. Everything's going to be established. We gotta understand that, right? Now, so we have our kingdom in the ancient world account of hey, the kingdom of heaven, how things gonna set up, it's gonna be all order. And then we all know the classic precept of the household, right? The household is supposed to be in order, right? Everything has order, right? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach. So the head of every man is Christ. And the head of the woman is man. So the head of the woman is man. So it goes Christ and man, right? It says, and the head of woman is the man, and the head of Christ is Yahweh. So that God, Christ, man, women, and children fall under it. And that's the proper order according to the Most High. Right? How things supposed to be run according to households, how the Most High always conducted himself. Because we know he don't change, right? So men is above women, men is under Christ, and Christ is under the Most High Yahweh. And that's order. And that Most High love order, and he don't sway from order, right? Let's get this last precept of the Spirit. Let's get Micah chapter 4, right? 4 and verse 1. And this is established. This is going to what? The kingdom, right? It says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountain. So it's talking about Jerusalem's going to be established, right? Israel, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us all his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall milk them, and none shall make them afraid. For the mouth of Yahweh of hosts has spoken it. For all people will walk every one in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of Yahweh, our God, forever and ever. And that's plain. So the Most High in the kingdom of heaven, he will have everything set up in order to where the nation of Israel, whomever he has set up, is going to judge all the other nations. The other nations is going to be in subjection to what? To the Israelites. So that's order. It's order in all facets. In the kingdom, in the ancient days, now, it's all order. Even in this world, this wicked world have order, corrupt chaos order, wherever you want to call it, but they have some type of order, right? So, with that, Lord willing, this was a good edifying and exhortation for Israel to love order, love to be in order and in subjection to the higher seat, Don't look at it as listening to men or having that spirit of you ain't nobody, who are you, you're a man like me. No, the Most High set certain people up to rule or to control or to have order among nations. And everything is of the Lord. And who are we to step on anybody's toes? Because ultimately, you don't know who that man is or woman is in this coming back. So with that, I want to give all power and glory in the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashem, like Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, is just the edifying beauty of the Spirit and power and glory in the Most High. Kwame Yasha Allah, Shalom.